Right now at 5, the fate of the man accused of killing and dismembering Sade Robinson rests in the hands of the jury, with deliberations already getting started.
Both the prosecution and the defense rested this afternoon after closing arguments lasted about 45 minutes on each side. That's how long they were given. It wrapped up just minutes ago.
So we're going to let you listen in on both sides, beginning with the prosecution, who went first, then to the defense, who just finished. Take a listen.
What Maxwell Anderson did to Sade Robinson was an intentional homicide. There is no question behind the intent, and there's no question about the person responsible for doing it. The killer is him. He's the last person to be with her, the last one texting her, the last one whose residence she was at, the last one who had her car, the last one who had her phone, the last one who was with her, the one who burned her car. He did everything he could to try to get away with it.
That he went to work at Dugout 54 the next morning, and his phone died, not turned off intentionally. It died during the hours that one would be asleep. And he went to Dugout 54 and he worked at Dugout 54, which was his job, the next day. No issue. You didn't hear from one person who said that suddenly his behavior was different or that he started acting strange. He continued to work, stay in the area, didn't cut his hair, didn't change his appearance, didn't have a whole pile of cash in his car with a passport to Mexico. None of that.
And then a rebuttal from the state came directly after the defense's closing arguments. All this, the jury is now taking into consideration, along with everything else we've seen over the last 8 days. The jury, just a reminder, made up of 9 women and 3 men.
Bill Miston joins us live now with compelling new evidence, but we do have a warning, Bill. You were about to take us through some very graphic material heard today.
Yeah, that's right. And just to keep you up to date on what is happening right now, we know that the jury is coming back into the courtroom after they were excused at about 4:40 to begin deliberations, selecting a foreperson and then starting the process of deciding Maxwell Anderson's fate. Now, today, that jury was shown photos that were later deleted from Maxwell Anderson's phone. We've blurred them because they show Sade Robinson partially dressed. An ex-girlfriend said today that Anderson would take her to a, quote, secret beach, a place where Robinson's leg was later found.
It's a cable knit sweater. It's a person laying face down. That person has black hair. They have a darker complexion with their breast exposed. Appears to be the red, very distinct couch.
How does Sade appear in this photo?
From this photo, she's face down on a couch. I don't know if she's alive or dead or sleeping. I can't tell from this photo.
Detectives say they found this deleted photo on Maxwell Anderson's phone, showing a partially clothed Sade Robinson wearing the same clothes later found in her torched car. Later that evening, a screenshot found on the phone of what not to mix with bleach.
Based on the time frame and when the phone itself actually has in the actual timeline itself, the next actions that happen within that system is deletion.
Of those images that were deleted,
it is highly likely that it was of those images.
Okay. And included in those images, were there images purported to be of Sade Robinson?
Correct.
A state crime lab analyst says Anderson's phone was left untouched by user interaction from shortly after midnight until it died.
The next time that the phone was connected to a power source or had power?
At about 8:59 in the morning.
That's about 15 minutes after surveillance video shows Anderson returning home, walking up the alley.
What did you do when you were there with him?
Generally, he'd bring his dogs. And then we would just hang out, build a fire. Sometimes we brought snacks. Sometimes I brought a book.
Anderson's ex-girlfriend said he would take her to what he called his, quote, secret beach.
That is where we would park our car.
And would get to the beach from here at Warnemont Park, right where Robinson's severed leg was later found.
Now, we do know that the jury has been excused for the day and that they're all expected to be back here at the Milwaukee County Safety Building by 8:30 to resume deliberations in the case. Reporting live, Bill Miston, Fox 6 News.
All right. Peace and blessings, all praises to the Most High. And that video is used in fair use for commentary and educational purposes. You see the trial ending last month in concerning the death of 19-year-old Sade Robinson. and the animal that you saw looking all unbothered and arrogant is the monster that killed her, 33-year-old Maxwell Anderson. Now, the jury had since found him guilty on a lot of charges. And if you want to know the exact charges, take a listen at this judge reading those charges at the conclusion of the trial.
And good morning to all of you. At this point, I have received verdicts. They are in a proper legal fashion. I will now read them into the record. As to count 1, the verdict reads, we, the jury, find the defendant, Maxwell Anderson, guilty of first-degree intentional homicide as charged in count 1 of the information. As to count 2, we, the jury, find the defendant, Maxwell Anderson, guilty of mutilating a corpse as charged in count 2 of the information. As to count 3, we, the jury, find the defendant, Maxwell Anderson, guilty of arson of property other than a building as charged in count 3 of the information. As to count 4, we, the jury, find the defendant, Maxwell Anderson, guilty of hiding a corpse as charged in count 4 of the information. At this point, I will poll the jury.
All right, so there you see the 4 charges that he was charged with: first-degree murder, mutilating a corpse, arson, and hiding a corpse in the death of young Sade. Now, this incident happened just last year. I think it was in April, early April, where, if I'm not mistaken, Sade met Maxwell through some sort of dating site. And that night they met at one of the local bars. And this happened in Wisconsin. Surveillance video, showed them going to dinner at some place called the Twisted Fisherman Restaurant on Canal Street. Then after that, they leave and they go to a place called Duke's. And then, Robinson sends a Snapchat to a friend who she told that she was excited about her date. And then they arrive at his home at 9:24. At 9:24. Now, early in the morning, that next morning, at 2:45 p.m., they said her phone pinged at the now private park that is known as Walmart Park at 2:45 a.m. Surveillance cameras captured a car heading toward a pump house at Walmart Park. They captured a person descending into the bluff, or, descending on down to the beach. And then they said that the vehicle left at 4:31 a.m. And then minutes later, Sade's phone lost battery, meaning it went dead. Now, the video footage from Milwaukee County Transit System bus shows Anderson getting off the bus near his home. He arrives there at 8:43 a.m. Now, but before that morning, the Honda Civic belonging to Robinson was found on fire in the 1800 block of North 29th Street, wherever that is. And a witness said he saw a male exit the vehicle and toss a lighter in it before walking away. Now, the next day after he did all of this, they said at 5:30, someone found a human leg belonging to a black woman, later confirmed to be Robinson's, at a at Walmart Park. The leg was found about 2/3 of the way down the bluff. About 3.5 later, a friend reported her missing. Law enforcement, went back to his home and searched his home. The hoodie found in his car matches the hoodie of the suspect. They executed a warrant and they found blood in one of the rooms and walls and, several gasoline containers. Then another human foot was found on the north side of the city. And, authorities reportedly discovered several more body parts the next day. And despite all of this, and that is from an article, Milwaukee Journal, despite all of this, this man pleaded not guilty when he was arrested. And so this man met this young college student. I think she was studying engineering at, Milwaukee Technical School or something of that nature. But he actually planned on killing and dismembering this body. Now, you heard the ex-girlfriend say, that, he, took her to this park, but she sounded like a white girl, so she probably didn't have anything to worry about. But this guy just was an animal. Now, fortunately, once again, he was just convicted. But before he was convicted, he actually requested a laptop in the jail. Now, they didn't give it to him, but just the audacity. And you can actually see him looking throughout that trial, like, whatever. I'm not guilty. He pled not guilty despite all this evidence. And even his lawyer after the trial, there was an interview, and the reporter asked him, "Okay, do you think he did it or not?" The lawyer was like, "Man, that's not up to me to say. That's not up to me to say. It's my job to defend the client. My heart goes out to the family and blah, blah, blah." But everybody in town knew that guy did it. It was just a formality. Now, what I'm going to show you is some more evidence and testimony to show you how mean and evil this guy was. Once again, you saw the photo where he took photos of her possibly already expired and partially nude. So this guy was an altogether just bad person. I don't know what they call those people who have intercourse with people who are already expired. I think with necrophilia or something like that. I don't know. But maybe he was into that as well. We don't know what that young lady had to endure. Once again, she, he tried to consume the evidence, burn cars. Like, this guy should be on the table for capital punishment. But nevertheless, watch this other video from the trial that, just exposes who this man is and how evil he was.
It is trial day 8 for Maxwell Anderson, the man accused of killing and dismembering 19-year-old Sade Robinson. Jenna Ray has been following this case since the beginning. She joins us live from outside the courthouse complex this afternoon. So, Jenna, a lot of new evidence introduced this morning.
That's right, Tom. It was an extremely emotional morning for everyone in the courtroom. At times, we saw members of Sade Robinson's family crying, and some of them even having to leave the courtroom because of the evidence that was being shown. I do want to warn you that some of the things I'm about to talk about in detail from this morning are disturbing. So this morning we heard from an ex-girlfriend of Maxwell Anderson. She says that when they were dating, Anderson showed her secret compartments throughout his house, like hidden shelves and closets. The ex-girlfriend also said that Anderson would take her to a secret beach, but never told her the name of it. So, quote, if they ever broke up, she couldn't take anyone else there. After Anderson was arrested, the ex talked to law enforcement, and the beach was confirmed to be Warnemont Park Beach, where Sade Robinson's leg was found.
She showed us kind of the area where they would hang out.
Are you aware that as to whether or not this location is where generally Sade Robinson's leg was found?
Yes, that's correct.
That is where it was found?
Correct.
If Anderson was ever abusive towards her. She said no, but did mention a physical fight Anderson had with her ex-boyfriend while they were dating. This morning, we also heard from a detective and forensic analyst who went through Anderson's phone. In his phone, we saw images of what appears to be Sade Robinson laying down on Anderson's red leather couch. Several images taken on Anderson's phone show Sade semi-nude with her clothes pulled off, exposing her.
It's a cable knit sweater. It's a person laying face down. That person has black hair. They have a darker complexion with their breast exposed. And then there's appears to be the red, very distinct couch.
Were you aware at the time you were going through this of what Sade Robinson was last known to be wearing?
I was.
Is it what we're seeing in this picture?
Yes.
For the last hour, we've been hearing from a State Department of Justice forensic analyst who talked about those pictures being taken on Maxwell Anderson's phone. He says that there's downloadable data that says that someone using Anderson's phone did take those pictures and then hours later deleted them off the device. We're back in court at 1:30, and as always, we're streaming live on TMJ4.com and our news app. We're live outside the Milwaukee County Courthouse. I'm Jenna Ray for TMJ4.
And there you hear them at the end saying someone took the pictures of that phone and then deleted them. So you see them still trying to cape for this monster, Maxwell Anderson, who befriended this young girl, 19 years old, college student, and, you know, took her on a date and unalived her. As you heard his girlfriend say, they always met at that park, and that's where they found her leg. What a sadistic, sick individual to do that. I don't know. It gives me Jeffrey Dahmer vibes with all the secret compartments or whatever. But once again, this speaks to that bigger issue, once again, of our women sometimes thinking that the grass is always greener on the other side, or as the old folks would put it, the white ice is better. And once again, as I mentioned in the last video, similar to this, of course, domestic violence happens all across the spectrum. But, you know, when it is this brutal, when it is this like, you know, horrific, you know, I can't think, you know, look back into what was done to black people, black women by white men in slavery. You know, what was done, you know, is horrific. I think back to the Jennings case where, you know, the white guy, you know, murdered his black wife and then spit on her, you know. So all of those things are symptoms of deep hatred. When you mutilate someone and set them on fire, like that is, you know, that's overkill. That exemplifies a deep hatred. I don't know why this is not considered a hate crime as well, but fortunately, once again, the justice system has convicted him. Now we're going to just be looking forward to the sentence, and I think his sentence is on August the 15th. So you guys be on the lookout for that, and we'll see if the justice system is truly just. You know, prayers go out to Sade's family, her loved ones. There's many videos of them out speaking, so, you know, you can just Google them and check them out and see how it has affected them. But, you know, I just wanted to focus on the sheer animalistic brutality that it would take for someone to do that, especially to a young 19-year-old who had their life ahead of them. So, you know, I definitely hope that this wicked person burns in an everlasting inferno, in which many people call hell. But y'all let y'all know. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this in the comments. As always, you see the number 919-587-7782. Thank y'all for watching, liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. As always, peace and blessings.